everyone, this is Priyanshi from JayMaharaj Focus Private Limited, and today's topic is about Ielts speaking task. So students, if you want to score good bands, then aim for the moon. Students, I said aim for the moon. If you will miss the moon, then definitely you will hit the star. Now let's see in detail about today's topic, which is of IELTS speaking task. Students, in your speaking task, total 3 parts are there, which I am going to explain you in detail. So students, before starting part 1, like and subscribe our channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon. Let's see part 1. Students, in part 1 you are going to make an impression in front of your examiner. So students, your examiner will introduce him or herself and they say, "Good afternoon, my name is James," and you need to answer, "Good afternoon, James." Now it's your choice whether you want to use your examiner name or not. So you can answer, "My name's Peter Smith." Now student, this is simple question and answer, but most of the students get problem. They make mistake, like they says, "Good afternoon, Miss James, my name is Peter Smith." And student, this is an incorrect way to answer, because in English we don't use Miss before the first name. Students, if you are not comfortable using your examiner name, then it's fine. You can just say, "My name is Peter Smith." Now, another thing I would like to say is that students are using question while they are answering. Like they answer, "My name is Peter Smith." Students, instead of saying "my name is," use contractions like "my name is Peter Smith." The reason why this is important, because it is a part of pronunciation. Students, if you will say names instead of "name is," then it will be outputted like you are knowing high level of pronunciations. And students, remember that at your exam, use as much as possible contractions. Now students, when you are answering, you don't have to answer too quickly like "My name's Peter Smith," but you have to answer slowly and politely like "Good afternoon, my name's Peter Smith," because student, it becomes difficult for the examiner to hear from you. Now, of course, the last point is of smile. So students, you have to keep a light smile on your face, because it's a chance for you to give a good impression to your examiner. And be confident, be friendly to your examiner. And the second question is very easy, and that is, the examiner will ask you, "What can I call you?" And you need to answer that, "Call me Peter," or you can also say, "Please call me Peter." Now for this question, some students used to give extra information like, "Everyone calls me by this name," and they will share their story related their name. But student, you don't have to give extra and detailed information. You just have to answer in a simple form. Now many students also have their English name, so you can say that, "You can call me by my English name," and this is fine. But students, do not make a mistake while speaking the sentence. Now student, if you don't have your English name, then it's fine. It is not mandatory to say. Now let's have a look on a third question. Now the examiner will ask you, "Where are you from?" or might say, "Where you come from?" And you need to answer, "I come from Nadiad," or you can say, "I am from Nadiad." Or you can also give a little bit information like, "I come from Nadiad, which is known as Temple Town." Now students, when you are answering, you don't have to expand it more and more, but you have to answer it simply, because as we know, this is simple question and answer. But if you want to say something more, then you can give location. Now student, remember the important thing that you don't have to ask a question to your examiner that are you from Nadiad, do you want to visit Nadiad, like that, because student, this is not a proper way to ask a question to your examiner, because this is simple question and answer, so you just have to answer to the question. Now students, when you are speaking at that time, use English pronunciations like I'm from Nadiad, because if you will speak English pronunciation, then the examiner will get to know that you can speak English naturally. Now the last question of your part 1, and that is the examiner will ask you, could you show me your identification please, or might say, can you show me your identification please, and you need to answer that yeah, sure, here it is. You can also say here it is, or you can also say of course here it is. Students, you just have to answer short and simple as I have said, and if you don't want to answer and just give your ID, then also it's fine. It is not mandatory to say anything while giving your ID, but if you want to say, then you can say as I have said, because that answer is short, simple and polite. So students, your part 1 will be of introduction. So now let's see part 2, which is about common topics. So students, you are going to get all the topic which will be common, and that's called cue card topic. So students, in your cue card, topic will be given like of school, food, flower, etc. And after giving you cue card, you are going to get 1 minute to prepare for your topic, and after completion of 1 minute, you are expected to speak continuously 1 to 2 minutes on that topic without interruption from your examiner. Now for example, if you got a topic on your friend, so you need to say how you meet your friend, how often you meet this friend, what kind of personality your friend have, how many best friends you have. Like this, you have to say so many things 1 to 2 minutes continuously. So student, like this, you have to cover all the points and you have to say it in a structure wise, so you can speak 1 to 2 minutes without any ums and ahs and all that. Students, if you will go through step by step and before going exam, go through all the common topics, but students, I request that do not mark the topic, you just have to read for your idea. Now let's see your final part, and that is part 3. And students, in part 3 there will be conversation between you and your examiner, and the examiner will ask you some question related to your part 2 and you have to answer it. And now you all will have question that what type of question may your examiner ask you. So students, don't worry, I am going to give you how the questions are asked, and I am going to give you some questions related to your topic friend. Now students, for the topic friend, the examiner can ask you questions like, is friendship important in your culture? How many close friends do you have? Are friendship important than family? Do you have any friend from a foreign country? So student, the examiner can ask you this type of question and you're supposed to answer it properly, and you have to show your English fluency. So students, I have explained you in detail about your IELTS speaking task, and now I am going to give some important points that you need to consider to make your IELTS exam successful. And student, I am also going to give some tips, and by applying that tips you can easily get your chosen band in chosen period. Now let's see the the important points. And students, you have 4 important points, and they are fluency, grammar, vocabulary and pronunciations. So students, let's see the first point, which is all about fluency. So students, you need to check it out that whether you are able to speak without any ums and ahs or not. And you need to check it out that you can form a complete sentence without any mistake, because all of these will show your English fluency in front of your examiner. Number 2, how wide your vocabulary is. Now students, for vocabulary I have made one separate video that how to learn and remember vocabulary. So students, go through that video for more information. And students, for your speaking task, vocabulary plays a major role, because if you are knowing more words, then you can easily able to answer effectively. Now number 3. Number 3 is of grammar and number 4 is of pronunciations. So students, even if you have a good Indian accent, that doesn't mean you don't pronounce incorrect. So student, as long as you will maintain rhythm and pronunciations correctly, then it will be easy for the examiner to understand you. And now I am going to give some tips which you have to apply, some before exam and some in exam. So now tip number 1 is know your speaking style. Now students, if you want to know your speaking style, then what you have to do is open a voice recording in your phone, hit that start button and start speaking on random topics like about your best friend, about your city, about your favorite dish, etc. And students, after speaking, you have to check it out that are you using too much of modern slang like lit, basic, lol, etc. And students, you also have to check it out that are you using curse words like god damn it, oh shit, etc. Because students, only when you will hear yourself back, you will realize that what slang you have to cut out and what pronunciations you need to set right. Now number 2, that is developing your vocabulary. So students, as I have said before, that vocabulary is a very important point through which the examiner is testing you. So students, what you have to do is open a workbook and find the synonyms of the words you are using often. So students, for example, if you are using a word fantastic a lot, so find out its synonyms like great, terrific, tremendous, etc. Students, only if you are knowing more words, then you can easily able to express yourself effectively. Now number 3 is don't memorize. Student, this is one of the important points that you need to take care of, because I have seen most of students, what they do is they just answer like they have marked the topic. So students, it's my request that do not answer like you are answering. Instead, you have to answer like you are talking with your examiner. Number 4, that is know the English equivalent of your local words. So for example, I am from Nadiad. So if somebody asks me about my city, then I will talk about famous food and what to see in Nadiad and of what Nadiad is famous for. So students, Nadiad's famous food is Dalpuri, Bihari samosa, and famous place in Nadiad is Santram temple, because Nadiad city is famous for worship. But the examiner might not be knowing that what all these are. So whenever I mention them, I will follow it up with a quick description. Students, for example, my favorite dish is Dalpuri, which is made of fried puffed bread and also consists of mildly spiced moong dal, which is famous in my city. Now let's see number 5, and that is about you have to try as much as possible. So students, when you are learning English, you have to speak in English with everyone who is knowing English. And remember one thing, that when you are learning English, you have to speak English in between your mother tongue. So students, my mother tongue is Gujarati, and usually I talk a lot with my mummy, and whenever I talk with my mummy, I used to speak in English in between my mother tongue. So students, if I am hungry, then I say to my mom that mummy, mane bhook lagi che, please give me some food. And students, remember the important thing, that when you are learning English, you don't have to feel shy, that if I will speak wrong, then what everyone will think about me. Students, if you will think about everyone, that what they will think about you, then trust me, you will not able to learn English. So students, try to speak English with everyone, with your friends, family, relatives, and especially talk with the one who is trying to sell you something, either on a phone or a mail. Now I am going to say 5 important tips which you need to consider during exam. So number 1 is, try not to use repeating words over and over again. Students, for example, if you say this place makes me happy, this food makes me happy, the people makes me happy, instead use more adjectives. So students, you can say like, this place is magnificent, the people here are so welcoming, the food is delicious, like that. So you can see the difference, it sounds good and interesting, so the examiner can easily get to know your level of English. Now number 2, and that is, make a bullet points of cue card topic. So students, for cue card, you are going to get 1 minute for preparation. So during that 1 minute, you have to make bullet points, like if the topic is on friend. So you can make a bullet point like, who's your best friend, how you meet your best friend, like that. And students, remember the important thing, that when you are making bullet points, remember you have to make it in a structure wise, so you can easily able to speak 1 to 2 minutes continuously. Now number 3, and that is to make a steady pace. So students, if you want to make a steady pace, then you have to speak in certain manner. If you will speak too fast, then it will sound like you are nervous. And students, if you will speak too fast, then you will do mistake, and you will also do grammatical mistake. So try to speak like you are talking with your examiner. Now number 4, and that is, give some description when you are speaking. So students, for example, if you are talking about your favorite indoor game, then say, why do you like to play that game? With whom do you play that game? How do you feel while you are playing that game, like that. Number 5, that is, be relaxed. So students, when you go for your speaking exam, at that time, be relaxed and face your examiner, and think that your examiner is your best friend and you are talking with his or her. Students, don't take your examiner as an examiner. If you will take your examiner as an examiner, then you will think a lot that how the examiner will judge you and all that. So student, I suggest that instead of thinking all that, you just have to focus to give proper and correct answer. So students, I hope that the information which I have provided to you that may helpful to you to open your door to future and you may get your chosen band score. And students, you can feel free to contact JME for any query regarding IELTS or English learning. They will try their best to solve the problem. So student, contact details are given below. And students, don't forget to like and subscribe our channel.